So hello everyone and welcome to our session, 5 Reasons Consulates Are Going Paperless. I'm Michelle Grafton. I'm Head of Digital Sales and Pre-Sales at iMountain. I've been here for 5 years and I've had the pleasure of working with many of our customers on our digital solutions. For those of you who don't know iMountain, we're a global leader in information management services. We create frameworks necessary to bridge the gap between paper, digital, media and physical data, extracting value from its life cycle and helping build organizational resilience. Business leaders have been talking about the paperless dream for some time, and we all thought that many years ago paper would become less of a reality in our offices. I really feel that we believed at this time, 2023, we would have been and had significantly less paper. It wasn't really until early on in the 2000s that we started to really see entirely paperless processes. And actually, we've seen, particularly in the public sector, a really heavy reliance on paper forms, printed documents, physical records, and that still exists today. There are a number of reasons that government are seeing challenges with their physical records. A big thing that's been really prevalent in how we work with our customers and how governments are seeing the need for a more electronic processing option is really that the need for security and governance of that material. The sheer amount of paper is really increased, and therefore being able to govern what should be kept, understand why it should be kept, and to make sure that it's really secure is very prevalent. There's also a lot of manual processes, and we've really seen this at consulates. So being able to turn up as a citizen and have to provide your documentation again because there's nothing digitally accessible has really caused a lot of manual processing. The time needed for staff to be able to locate that paper means that it's easier to ask the citizen to come again. We also see that consulates in particular are located in prime urban centres, and therefore the space that they're utilising is actually very expensive and actually not really the best use of that real estate, particularly where we're storing millions of pages of documents. As I mentioned before, we are seeing that actually citizens are needing to bring physical paper again, and it can be really frustrating to not have that connect between data that's been provided in the past and then needing to provide it yet again. So 5 reasons consulates are going paperless: the recovery and resilience facility funding, lingering pandemic effects, citizen expectations, government mandates, and climate control. So the recovery and resilience facility funding is something that the European Union have provided to governments across Europe, in particular consulates. This is a fund that consulates are able to access to be able to look at digitising content to speed up the process, to have better access to documents, and to also achieve other goals such as climate neutrality by 2050. There are a number of lingering effects from the pandemic, namely where the government and consulate staffs are reconsidering where they're able to work and live and be able to have that remote access to their job and be much more effective. Organisations are really struggling to find workers that they need, where people post-pandemic have moved on to other activities or work that is more aligned to their lifestyle and how things have changed. And also we've all become a lot more reliant on technology for things like online shopping. The expectation of us as citizens to be able to access online items that we need, as well as being able to interact via video call, means that actually the way and the face in which we interact with the consulate has changed significantly. I mentioned previously the citizen expectations, but actually we've all become a lot more familiar with the use of technology, and actually the government has been seen as an area where they've not modernised in a significant time. The use of the paper still in a lot of the processes is seen as outdated, and actually there's a global view that governments need to be more effective at using technology, particularly post-pandemic. There's a government mandate to move to digital, and actually they've targeted being able to reach that by 2030. There are a number of things that can enable that. I will talk about some of them going forward, but later on in the presentation. But actually, being able to position digitization as access to data and more freedom of that data, as well as needing to make sure that across the European Union we are associating to country variations of such mandates, but a real stretch and a target to be able to have much more digital access to information going forward. And surrounding all of this, being able to ensure that the governments are producing less emissions, being able to show that there is less paper within the process is absolutely a way to support that mandate, as well as reducing waste. So it isn't just the paper, it is things like ink and toner, but actually being able to reduce the amount of waste in a process will really support this climate change initiative. So a few things that we have seen and myths that are actually a part of people's understanding of what a paperless office really means. So there's a myth that paper processes generate more paper, and actually we have seen that the true reality is that most recently paper use has really begun to decline. So this is something that we're seeing across government and across a number of industries. Scanning archives taking a lot of time and staff to digitize. Actually, this is where large third-party vendors like Iron Mountain are able to use economies of scale, high volume scanners, and experience of our staff to be able to ensure that we're looking at how we can streamline and digitize most effectively. It's often seen that security by using an outside vendor is something that hinders governments being able to produce the digital content that they require. And actually, that is something that Iron Mountain take really seriously. Security is the heart of everything that we do, from the physical to the digital, being able to transport, being able to encrypt material and data as it moves through our processes. This is really the backbone of our solution, and something that we'd be more than happy to talk to our customers about. It's often believed that paperless processes are more expensive, where actually we have seen that being able to digitize and then reuse a single image rather than create more paper, which actually takes up more space, is really more efficient, both in being able to work with the citizen that you're dealing with, as well as staff satisfaction. So being able to find the right content at the right time to be able to support that consulate and citizen request means that generally this is much more efficient and time saving. So wanting to be able to give you some tangible steps that you can take to understand how you can move to a paperless consulate environment. The first step being really researching and understanding the Recovery and Resilience Facility funding. There are other funding opportunities, but particularly around the return on investment and some of the things that I've just talked through with the myths. But it's really important that you understand access to funding that is available, and we'd be more than happy to discuss that with you. It's really important to understand what it is that you need. So what is it that you have? Volumes are really important, and actually what are the processes and steps that you're taking manually today to be able to understand those efficiencies. And again, this is something that we are able to consult upon, and we have vast experience in being able to understand inventories, governance around documents, how long they should be kept, and also understanding the digitization process that would improve that. All of this would then build into a business case. So starting to build out a proposal that would understand what are those savings and efficiencies. And I say again, we'd be more than happy to help you with that. A big part of changing such a process from paper to digital really needs a shift in sort of thinking, and that change management process will be really important. So one of the things we've seen is identifying champions who can be key stakeholders in the process, and really be able to share what it is that happens today, what a desired state would look like. And often we've seen that the teams on the ground completing the activity are the best ones to really share and already know where things could be more efficient. So including that as part of the proposal, and thinking about that change management process is key. We'd be more than happy to have initial conversations around discovery workshops and how we can make sure that we are addressing any concerns around security, privacy, and to be able to provide you with information on how we deliver that. And also building that tailored solution. We appreciate that each consulate and agency will be doing things differently. So this is something that we have as blueprints, but we absolutely can adapt to make sure it's tailored to you. And a big part of this, as well as the change management, is understanding how we deliver together. So what is that delivery approach, and how do we work together on this? So what does our solution look like? It starts with understanding the physical records and being able to convert that from physical to digital. We have the ability to pick up and track records from the site that they are currently located to our secure facilities. We're able to integrate with existing databases that you might have to be able to enrich the content that we're converting. We then enable access to the correct users at the right time to the appropriate data through access controls. And this is a web-based application. That means it's scalable, it's easy to use, it's able to be deployed on local networks or cloud instances, and is our secure content management services platform. We can protect and share data associated to the entire life cycle that I've just described. So as content is securely collected, digitized, encrypted and accessed by the users, we're able to show the full end-to-end custody and life cycle, as well as securely storing or passing back key physical records that are required. And all of this helps to maintain that compliance and security that we talked about previously. And ultimately, we can store or even securely dispose of physical content that's no longer required to be kept in physical format. Now it's digitized, as well as the other options that I've discussed. One of the things I would say at this point is it may be that you require some or part of this process and not all of it. And again, I go back to the tailored solution that we would provide to you based on your requirements. But I wanted to be able to share the end-to-end process that we have available also. So please get in contact. We'd be more than happy to provide you with a demo of our solution. Take a look at some of our other assets that we can share around customer case studies where we've done this previously. A little bit more about Iron Mountain, a little bit more about our platform, as well as other reading materials and white papers that support the transformation that the consulates are going through, and we'd be more than happy to discuss with you.